VaYU is a university which is located in Los Angeles, California, and we started in 2014, and we started our programming in 2020 because it took that long to get the license, primarily to convince the government of California that yoga has more than 2,500 years of documentation, much longer, in fact, if you follow the Jain traditions. And then in 2020, we started the Master of Science program in yoga. In 2023, we have the PhD program. We are primarily a graduate research and teaching university. So without much ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Berk to our program, our distinguished seminar series program. And what we will do is I will give a brief introduction to Dr. Berk, and then Dr. Berk they will do the seminar. I'm very excited about the topic, which is a very unique topic, which is, often this approach, which we were taught as youngsters, growing up in an Orthodox family in India. I was exposed to it. But today we are going to hear from an evidence-based scientific perspective from Dr. Berk, who has spent pretty much his lifetime learning about and researching and documenting evidence. Okay, so let me first begin by introducing Dr. Berk. Dr. Berk, first of all, welcome. Dr. Berk got his PhD in 1976 from the University Erlangen, Nuremberg. His studies focused on philosophy of science, logic, and mathematics in both Munich and Erlangen. From 76 to 81, he was an assistant professor in Constance University, which is at the southern tip of Germany, close to the Swiss border. He taught logic and methodology of science. Since 1980, he has been coordinating research on Homa therapy, in the beginning mainly in Eastern European countries like Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Yugoslavia, etc., with the last 2 decades mainly in India. He has cooperated with many universities. He has received multiple top awards, Lifetime Achievements Award for outstanding contribution in the field of environment from Environment and Social Welfare Society, Khajuraho, India. A Certificate of Excellence for matchless contribution in promoting Agnihotra globally, the House of Commons, British Parliament, in September of 2022 in London. Hortical Leadership Award 2021 and 2022 from the Indian Horticulture Society, Indian Society of Horticulture Research and Development. He has given more than 250 talks, lectures, invited lectures, keynote addresses at universities and in national and international conferences. He has published several articles and books on Agnihotra and Homa Therapy. Dr. Berk, we are very fortunate to have you. I really look forward to your wonderful presentation. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Srinath. First, thank you for inviting me to this distinguished speaker webinar of VaYU. And I'm very happy to hear that VaYU is bringing this ancient knowledge of yoga, which nearly had been forgotten, to the West. And now, today, I will talk about Agnihotra and Homa Therapy. Agnihotra is a healing pyramid fire which purifies our environment and heals body and mind. And we do not take Vedic statements for granted, but we take these as hypotheses and and try to validate in terms of modern science. So now,
Dr. Berk, feel free to share your screen.
I just Um, I'm just looking for it.
At bottom in center you can see the share button. You can click on there
Yeah,
and
that is okay. That is okay. Only I didn't find because I had many windows open. Okay, now you see the screen.
Yes,
You see my
yes,
screen?
yes.
we do
Okay.
see the screen.
So great. So the topic is Agnihotra, Vedic knowledge in the light of modern science. Oh, this is me. I was already introduced. So the overview of the talk today is, first, I want to explain the method. What is Agnihotra? What is it exactly? Um, Second, I'll talk about effects, results by research so far, effects on environment, atmosphere, water, soil, effects on plants and agriculture, and also on human health. And then I will talk a little bit about how come, what are the mechanisms, how does this Agnihotra work? And the end, talk about the effects on human mind, because that is very important also for yoga, the subject which you are concentrated on. So first, the method. Uh, Agnihotra is a simple pyramid fire which you perform in a copper pyramid of fixed size and shape. The ingredients are dried cow dung, ghee, clarified unsalted cow's butter. It has to be pure cow's butter, not mixed with any other butter. And then some unpolished rice, unbroken pieces. In India, you call it akshat. Then some mantras, which is exact vibration, and a timetable of sunrise and sunset, exact to the second. And now things have become more easy. You don't even need a timetable because we have this app called Agnihotra Buddy, both for Android phones and iPhones, which give you with a few clicks the exact time, sunrise, sunset, for every point on the planet where you are. The mantras. There are two mantras in the morning, two mantras in the evening. In the morning, it's Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Namama, Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Namama. And after Swaha, you add one portion of rice, to which you add a little bit of ghee to the fire. So in the evening, it is Agnaye Swaha, Agnaye Idam Namama. Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idam namama. So that's it. So the whole process takes approximately 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. The only thing is it needs a little bit of discipline because we have to adjust to this biorhythm of sunrise and sunset, which, by the way, is a basic biorhythm for all life on this planet. Why these mantras and why the exact timing? There's a description in ancient tradition which says at sunrise, many fires, electricities, ethers, and more subtle energies come all the way from the sun to the point on earth where the sun appears to rise. They say appear to rise because it's an appearance. It's not really rising at that time. And it is said that this flood of energies has a certain music in it, and the quintessential sound of that music is the mantra which we utter at that time. Therefore, we create kind of resonance effect. And so that explains why first it has to be the mantra, exact the Sanskrit mantra. If you translate into English or German, whatever, it will not work. Second, the exact time is important. Then the procedure is simple. The fire should already be fully ablaze at the time of sunrise sunset. And then you take a few grains of rice, unbroken pieces, akshat, for example, in your left hand or in a copper dish, apply a few drops of ghee, and then after swaha, you add one portion, and after the second swaha, the second portion. That's it. Whole process done. What happens, it is said that a channel is created throughout all the atmosphere and prana energy, life energy, which rests above our atmosphere, comes down through this channel, and an aura energy field is created around all plants nearby. They get nutrition, they get disease resistant, they get stronger. And when the flame dies, all this energy comes back and is conserved in the Agnihotra ash. This is why we can use this ash for healing, for nourishing the plants, and so on. So what are the benefits? All nature comes back to harmony, and that has an effect on environment, atmosphere, soil, water resources. Also biodiversity gets restored, food security can be maintained, and human health improves, both physical and mental. So about these benefits today, I just want to summarize and then also concentrate on the question, how is it possible that such a small fire can have these tremendous effects, purifying the environment, bringing nature back to harmony, and leading to inner peace? So what are the effects? Effects on environment, atmosphere, water, soil, radioactivity, plants and agriculture, human health. On the atmosphere, atmospheric pollution consists basically of three types: biological, chemical, physical. Biological pollution is mainly all types of microbes, bacteria, viruses, and so on. Different experiments have been done. That was done at Himachal Agricultural University. See, very simple. They opened a petri dish with some nutrient agar before Agnihotra for 10 minutes, then sent for incubation, and did the same thing after Agnihotra again. Open it for 10 minutes, sent for incubation. And then after 24 hours, you compare, and you see lots and lots of bacteria at the left side, and right side, much, much less. That has been done in different places, so that's well established. Now about physical air pollution, that's mainly particulate matter. Here you see some experiment we did in Vivekananda University in Ujjain, MP. You see at the back some high volume air sampler. I performed Agnihotra, and this air sampler sucked in the air and filtered and checked the quantity of particulate matter. And here you see the results. Also chemical air pollution, SOx and NOx, and then the particulate matter. And you see at the beginning it goes up a little bit, but then it comes down by 30 to 40%. And that was done from evening to morning, but same thing happens from morning to evening also. Interesting is one thing. We measured, that was done in Germany, the negative ions in the air. And negative ions are an indicator of fresh air, healthy air. And you see here at sunrise and sunset during Agnihotra, there are big, big peaks. So that shows that the air quality is much improved. And that may also explain why particulate matter, for example, is reduced, because you have these negative ions. They may attract all kinds of particles and then settle down. What is the effect of Agnihotra and Agnihotra ash on water? That was a simple experiment done in Pune. They took water from a polluted river and poured it through a glass cylinder which was filled with Agnihotra ash. Measured the water quality before and after, and you see here the comparison. All parameters of water quality got very much improved. Just look at the last two figures, that is bacterial count. It went down by more than 90%. And this is why now many people use their drinking water. They use some Agnihotra ash, preferably add some Agnihotra ash in the evening and drink the water next morning. But not only on small scale, even on large scale, Agnihotra works. This is the Narmada River in Maheshwar, that is in Madhya Pradesh, close to Indore, in the middle of India. And there's a place, Homa Therapy Goshala, where all these fires were done regularly. And some scientists measured the water quality upstream and downstream, and see here, the two stations upstream, water quality was rather bad. Then second last row is Maheshwar Homa Therapy Goshala. Water quality is much better than upstream and downstream, just by performing Agnihotra and some other Homa fires in this place. And we also added Agnihotra ash to the Narmada River regularly. Effects on soil. We've seen that with Homa organic farming methods based on regular Agnihotra, use of Agnihotra ash, and the fertilizer containing Agnihotra ash, cow dung, cow urine, and vermicompost, we can achieve better yields, better quality of crops, resistance to pests and diseases, improvement of soil health, beneficial microbes increase, harmful microbes are being controlled, and both alkaline, sodic, and acidic soil get back to normal pH. Soil organic carbon increases, thus helping to sequester CO2 from the atmosphere. And that is now a very important topic because everybody talks about climate change and the increased CO2 level in the atmosphere. Modern agriculture is highly contributing to CO2 in the atmosphere. And one big factor is the reduction of soil organic carbon by erosion, which removes humus content, killing microbes, burning paddy, and so on, paddy straw. With Homa organic farming, soil organic carbon increases. We have measured 15 to 17% soil organic carbon. In India, with conventional agriculture, they normally have 1% and even less than that, say 0.5%. Effects of Agnihotra on plants. Some simple experiment, very simple. You take some dish, put some tissue, and put some seeds on it. And then you water it and see how the seeds germinate. First, you do that with tap water, and then right side, you do it with Agnihotra ash water. But that is not a fair comparison because any ash has some nutrients. You could use some wood ash, and also that will be better than just tap water. So what we normally do in order to validate the effect of Agnihotra ash, we take some control ash, that is, we burn the same substances like we use in Agnihotra, cow dung, some ghee, but not use the other disciplines of Agnihotra. But chemically seen, it's the same ash. And you see still Agnihotra ash has a much better effect. Then that was the use of Agnihotra ash to see how the plants germinate. And also, what is if we perform Agnihotra next to these plants? And that was done in this experiment. And you see left is untreated, means no Agnihotra. Right is treated, that is with Agnihotra done in the room. The experiment was not done in an ideal way because the left plants, they were done in the next room and the effect of Agnihotra would still be there. But still, you see the difference. And here you see root length and shoot length, big difference between untreated, which means no Agnihotra, treated, which means Agnihotra. Then we have some controlled experiments done at some agriculture university in Dharwad, Karnataka. They studied tomatoes, cabbage, soybeans, and okra. Each was a MSc thesis, and they controlled yield, pests and diseases, and quality, especially nutrient content, which is so important for nutritious food and for our health. And the detailed studies showed reduction of pests and diseases, increased nutritional value, and higher yields. Another experiment was done with cooperation with the VaYU, Banaras Hindu University in Varanasi, about the photosynthesis activity, and it showed increased photosynthesis activity of plants in Homa atmosphere compared to non-Homa atmosphere. They compared 10 plants and just look at the leaves of the plants. Agnihotra atmosphere, non-Agnihotra atmosphere, big difference. Another scientific study was done recently in cooperation with the University of Lucknow, anti-cancer effect of leaf extracts from plants cultivated in Agnihotra atmosphere. See, pollution is a major issue that impacts all living forms, not just humans, but also animals and plants. And also the medical properties of plants are affected. And as plants are so important as for all kinds of Ayurvedic medicines, we studied 4 Ayurvedic plants: Tulsi, Neem, Curry, and Bale. They were collected from Homa atmosphere environment, where Agnihotra is routinely practiced, and then compared to plants from outside. Extracts were prepared and applied to human cancer cells and cell cultures. And plants grown in Homa atmosphere showed increased anti-cancer effects. That was published recently also. What are the effects on human health? How does Agnihotra and Agnihotra ash help to heal body and mind? One thing is environmental pollution creates a lot of risk factors for human health. These risk factors are removed by Agnihotra and the use of Agnihotra ash. These risk factors are quite high. Some studies say that 25 to 40% of all deaths, of all human deaths, now are related to environment pollution. So that's a big problem. And if you can reduce the pollution, that means from the beginning you can avoid some of these diseases. Still, if people get ill, can Agnihotra and Agnihotra ash help? There are several studies. One showed that Agnihotra ash reduces the virulence of bacteria. The different parameters of virulence is capsule formation, hemolytic activity, pigment formation, and all these are reduced. Then pathogenic bacteria are controlled. Even multi-drug resistant bacteria are controlled. That was a study done in Kathmandu, Nepal, some years ago. Recently in Germany, a study showed that free radicals are reduced if you apply Agnihotra ash water. That means there's an antioxidant effect. The immune system is strengthened, and the cell vitality is increased. Now, one example, just one example of the effect of Agnihotra and Agnihotra ash, how it heals people, is on HIV-positive children. That was a project in Mysore, Karnataka. There were 20 children HIV positive, and they invited me there to start this project. And I suggested that each of the children performs his or her own Agnihotra. And also they took Agnihotra ash in the drinking water. And after some time, the mean viral load went considerably down. That was also published. And here you see the children, how they perform Agnihotra. We took the photo from the backside, so in order to ensure the privacy of these children. Now let us come to mechanism. How does Agnihotra work? One question is, what of the different elements of Agnihotra, the timing, the materials burned, mantras, atas, are essential for getting these results? The answer is all of them. And that has been shown in different experiments. They have made variation. Instead of cow dung, they use buffalo dung. Instead of cow ghee, buffalo ghee. Instead of a copper pyramid, some other metal pyramid. Instead of exact timing of sunrise, sunset, some other time. Instead of the Sanskrit mantras, the translation of the mantras uttered at that time. And only if you did everything, all the different disciplines of Agnihotra correctly, only then you got the real result. Now, how do all these factors work together? That's a vast subject, and we are just at the beginning to understand. So now I only want to discuss a few points. First, Agnihotra ash, control ash, then the energy field of Agnihotra, effects on water, and the role of sound. Above, I already showed, we compared for germination of seeds, Agnihotra ash with control ash. And the chemical analysis of these both ashes are practically the same. You see here a list of the elemental analysis, chemical analysis of Agnihotra ash and control ash. They are really more or less the same. And still the effect, for example, on germination of seeds or purification of water is different. Here you see, again, this effect, the difference in the germination of seeds. So the question is, if the chemical analysis is same, there must be some property of the water, of the ash, of the Agnihotra ash, which leads to the different result. In order to find out, we use some different spectroscopy methods for looking for physical and structural properties. We used infrared absorption, UV visible light spectroscopy, X-ray diffraction, and Raman spectroscopy. And in these graphs, we see some different peaks. Still, we have to understand better. Here you see the blue is Agnihotra ash, different peaks. That was infrared absorption. Here you see UV visible light, also different. And here X-ray diffraction, and that was recently done. Raman spectroscopy, left side, right side, quite a difference. Okay? Still, we have to understand better. Second thing, the effect of Agnihotra on water. Water is important because our bodies are 70% water. And every change in the properties of this water has a significant influence on processes within the bodies on the level of cells. So we did one experiment. Distilled water was kept in closed water bottles, one part in the lab, second part in Agnihotra atmosphere for 5 days. And then the bottles from the Agnihotra atmosphere were brought back to the lab, and a controlled quantity of E. coli, means 1 drop, was added to all the bottles, and bacterial growth was observed. You see here, after 1 day, 24 hours, already the lab water showed the bacterial growth of 375 CFUs. And there was nothing in the Agnihotra water. And after 5 days, you see the bacterial growth in the lab water was at 2,290, and Agnihotra water was only 302. That was less than the water in the lab at the beginning. So less colonies were formed in Agnihotra, in the water which was kept near Agnihotra for 5 days, than in the water kept in the lab. So that shows a big difference in the water. How can we explain that? One possible explanation is that electromagnetic properties of water change in Agnihotra atmosphere. And that has been confirmed. This was one experiment done in Eastern Europe long time back, and it showed that the magnetic permeability of water changes if you perform Agnihotra. And the change is, the blue line is water, tap water in Agnihotra atmosphere, and the black line is distilled water in Agnihotra atmosphere. And in the second experiment, it was the light absorption. Here again, there was a big change between 1, that is distilled water, 2 is distilled water, bioenergized, means some healer influenced the water, and 3 was water in Agnihotra atmosphere. So you see that magnetic permeability and light absorption change if you perform Agnihotra. And as electric and magnetic properties play a decisive role in living cells, this effect could have a big impact on many life parameters. And another possible explanation is sound. We'll come to that a little later. Now, another aspect, what is the energy field of Agnihotra? You've seen the effect of the ash, but what is the effect of Agnihotra energy field? This experiment was done 10 years ago, a little more, and we wanted to see what kind of energy field is it. Is it electromagnetic? Of course, you perform Agnihotra, you have light, you have heat, so there some electromagnetic field is there. But is that all? So what we did is we set up an experiment. We took water from a river nearby and filled, say, 30 bottles. Half of the bottles we immediately sent to the lab for control, and the other bottles we kept in our Agnihotra room. And you see at the left side, 9 of these water bottles were kept in some metal container, and metal container acts as Faraday cage, means electromagnetic field does not enter. Okay, you could say high energy field do enter, like neutrons and so on, but that is not emitted by Agnihotra, which a different experiment showed. So what was the effect? We here you see the arrangements of the bottles. We also kept one bottle at a larger distance to see whether that makes a difference. It did not. Here you see the list. Just look at the last row, and you see the coliform bacteria count went down by 68 to 70%. And the interesting thing is, it was practically no difference whether these bottles were in a metal container or whether they were just in glass. Just the last 2 lines, 69% less, 69% less. So that means the electromagnetic radiation is not mainly responsible for that effect. The energy field of Agnihotra is not restricted to the electromagnetic spectrum. It's beyond that. Then the question, of course, which kind of energy field, if not electromagnetic, that's still a challenge for physics. It can be some kind of prana, but in the moment prana we can't measure. Or maybe even sound plays an important role here. So let's look into sound now. First, we see how sound influences matter, shows an imprint on matter. And this has very nicely been shown in many studies on cymatics, which study the effect of sound waves on inert substances like sand, powder, or liquids. Here you see a visualization of sound waves in the air. And here you see the effects of sound on some liquid. The sound, the loudspeaker is underneath the plate where you have the liquid. And here you see different pitches create different patterns. Very interesting. And but one question is, this sound, okay, sound creates an impact on matter. And you can see that in sand patterns or liquids. But what about Agnihotra ash? If sound has an impact on the Agnihotra ash, and then if the ash is taken out of the pyramid, filled in a glass, or transported to some other places, taken out of the bottle mixed with soil or with water, then there's no way that this original vibrational pattern could survive the treatment. So such a vibration pattern must somehow be stored in Agnihotra ash on some other level. See what happens. This is water with Agnihotra ash. And then this is done by the Emoto Institute. They take 1 drop of the water and then shock freeze it, and then you see this crystallization. Here you see a perfect water crystal, which was created by using Agnihotra ash water. So it seems that there are some more subtle sounds stored in the Agnihotra ash, and this subtle sound gets released when the ash is put into water, and it would also explain the healing effect of Agnihotra ash when it gets in contact with plants, animals, and humans. And sound may affect matter on the level of atoms and subatomic particles. Sound comes before matter. That is what traditional knowledge says. And that means that sound cannot be defined as vibration of matter, and therefore electronic equipment may not be able to catch the more subtle aspects of sound. And that also explains why the human element is essential for Agnihotra. Even the best equipment of microphone or loudspeaker is not able to reproduce the subtle aspects of mantras. If we sing mantras in a room for some time, the space is impregnated with the healing energy of the subtle sound of these mantras. And maybe this subtle sound, which is more than just vibration of a medium like air or water, is related to the sound of creation. Nada Brahma, sound is Brahman, or the universe is sound. In the Bible, it said, in the beginning was the word, and we can understand word as mantra or vibration. And audible speech is just the final crystallization of a more subtle vibrational process. Are these subtle sounds stored in Akasha? If we sing mantras for some time, or even more powerful, perform Agnihotra regularly at some place, the space or Akash is impregnated with the healing energy of these mantras. Sound, vibration, and resonance is the key. And this also relates to silent mantras, which have an effect also thought energy and consciousness. So let us look at effects of human health on human health, effects on the mind. The aim of yoga is to still the mind. And inquiry with yoga teachers showed that the same effect doing yoga and pranayama has less effect than 20 years ago. Why is it so? It is the importance of the atmosphere, and pollution has brought the quality of the atmosphere down. And especially, we have more thought pollution. Thought pollution, negative thinking, negative feelings is the worst form of pollution, the origin of all other types of pollution. We cannot measure it yet, but we can feel it. Just imagine you enter a room after big quarreling, after big fights, people have left still. You enter the room, you feel uneasy. And if you enter a room where people had meditated for some time, okay, people are out, still you enter the room and you feel at ease. You feel that. We cannot measure yet. And Agnihotra also removes thought pollution and creates an harmonious environment. And although we cannot measure thought energy directly, there are many testimonials and some studies which clearly show that regular performance of Agnihotra reduces stress, fear, depression, and anxiety. Let's look at such studies. One was done in Moscow a long time ago. People came for 2 weeks regularly for Agnihotra. Anxiety and depression were measured before and after Agnihotra with some questionnaire, and you see a clear reduction in both parameters. You see anxiety is red before and anxiety after is white. Big reduction. Again, depression before is black and depression after is green. Also, big improvement. Another study was done in Santiago de Chile at some medicinal university. It was before some difficult examination, and the students were only highly stressed. They examined 100 students in saliva, and then they took 30 of the students with highest stress level, and they randomly assigned these 30 students to 2 groups. Both groups were invited for Tai Chi, and the students were said, okay, this Tai Chi helps you. What the students did not know, one group where there was Tai Chi, Agnihotra was performed in next room. And then the results, if you take the stress level of the students before the Tai Chi as 100%, the stress level of the students which did only Tai Chi was 41%, and the stress level of the students which was were doing Tai Chi and Agnihotra was in the next room was 8.4%. So there's a big difference, 41%, 8%. And also with the cortisol level went down with the students who just performed Agnihotra from 30 to 22, and the students with performed Agnihotra, also where Agnihotra was performed next room, from 29 to 17. There's some shortcoming in this study. Mainly thing is they wanted to avoid the placebo effect, so the people did not actually, they were not at the Agnihotra room, and even much better would have been if they would have performed Agnihotra directly. Okay, that was not done. Another study that was done in US by Dr. Henry Gregory and Gautam Bhattapudi, and we had also two groups, and one group was performing Agnihotra morning and evening, and the control group, they were just meditating for 15 minutes, but no Agnihotra. And you see the results. The that was mentioned with measured with the Beck's depression inventory, and the depression inventory, there was a decrease of 12.7 with the Agnihotra group and a decrease of 1 with the control groups. And on the other side, the wellness index increased by 3.5 in the control group and 14.9 in the Agnihotra group. Again, a big difference, a big improvement. So Agnihotra has a considerably better effect than just meditation. Of course, best would be perform Agnihotra and then perform meditation. So now, question is, what is the modus operandi? How does Agnihotra work on our mind? We purify our atmosphere, our environment, and it is stated that by inducing a change in the atmosphere, you bring about change in the function of prana, life energy. And this has very beneficial effects on our minds, as prana and mind are connected like two sides of the same coin. You affect prana if immediately it has an effect on mind, and vice versa. Now, how is prana? Prana is controlled by the atmosphere. The flow of prana is controlled by the atmosphere. And if you can purify atmosphere by Agnihotra, then the flow of prana is automatically improved and means mind is immediately affected. We can see this in two studies. This one was with EEG. You see EEG before Agnihotra, most of the brain waves were in the beta range, 70%. Alpha was just 17.6. And beta stays for activity, but also for stress. And after Agnihotra, again, after one single Agnihotra, beta came down to 22.8 and alpha to 56.8. So a big improvement in alpha, reduction in beta. So that shows mind was calmed down. Another result which we got recently in Germany, that was with GDV, gas discharge visualization, according to Professor Korotkov from Russia. And he measures the chakras. And you see here, that was a person before Agnihotra, a person who did not perform Agnihotra regularly. The chakras are a little bit out of order. And after one Agnihotra only, see, nearly all chakras are totally aligned. Only the throat chakra is a little bit out of order, but even that is better than before. So you see, the chakras are also automatically harmonized if you perform Agnihotra, which shows your energy body is harmonized, which is a very good preparation then also for meditation, for yoga, for all these practices. And actually, one person who regularly practices yoga and meditation for decades, he told us that normally it took him 20 minutes to get into a deep state of meditation. With Agnihotra, that happened nearly immediately. So it is a big effect. And I encourage all of you to try that out. Not just believe me, try that out yourself. And maybe we can do some studies together in future. Thank you.
Dr. Berk, thank you very much. And that was fascinating. It is scientific. It is amazing the amount of research that you have done and that you have been associated with, and the work that is going on in different places. And this as a technique, as I said in the beginning, was something that I was exposed to right after my Brahmopadesham, my Janu ceremony, and but I had not continued it. Now this gives me a tremendous amount of gratification that I was exposed at a very young age, but your research has scientifically proved that the multiple benefits of this wonderful technique, and I hope our audience, many of them will be inspired by this and will want to continue this. Okay, so I'm sure that I have multiple questions, and I do have the questions for myself. And but before that, I would, after thanking you, I would like to take a few minutes to talk about Vivekananda Yoga University, VaYU. And VaYU, as I said in the beginning, we started in 2014. It took us about 6 years to get licensed to start a graduate program, master's degree in yoga. By in 2020, we started the Master of Science in Yoga. We have graduated 43 students in the masters during this period of 5.5 years. And we started a PhD program in 2023. We have 13 students in the PhD program. Nobody has yet graduated. We have currently 40 students in the master's program going on. So we consider ourselves a university which is focused on the Indian knowledge systems, as it is nowadays known in India. Okay, Bharatiya Gnana Parampara, a translation in Sanskritam, from Sanskritam. And we would like to, as a university, that we are an evidence-based, research university, and we are interested in, yes, like you said, when somebody knowledgeable may say, okay, this technique works or this approach works and so on, be it in human health or be it philosophically, we would like to take that as an hypothesis and then try to build a research program to figure out whether that hypothesis works or not. And that's exactly what we saw in your approach. I'm very gratified to see that this approach, which we teach our students, in research methodologies and how to, go very methodically over the plan of research and then conduct it, get the evidence, and then make the conclusion. And that's what I was very happy to see. And this is something wonderful that all our students and who have attended, are potential students who may be looking at it, or other audience that are looking at it, and to see how this important approach of trust but verify. Okay, trust that the ancients had this and this wonderful, but how in this modern scientific approach we can look at it. It is not that in the past that people did not use it, but modern scientific approach requires you certain rigor that you need to go through, and that's what we see in your research. I'm very happy to hear that, and this has definitely inspired me to come back to the Agnihotra practices, and I am going to start doing that, every day. And I also thank you for not just telling us about the research, but also teaching us how to do the Agnihotra, how you have been performing, and your group. And I saw some beautiful pictures on your website of a group of people performing it, and you also shared with us the picture from Mysuru, where actually I come from Bangalore, which is literally next door.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and seeing that I'm under, I used to be part of and I'm still part of a humanitarian organization. We have multiple projects in Mysuru region, and all those names sounded very familiar to me. So these are real, and then I encourage our audience to take that and run with it. Okay, so I would actually like to share one as a part of VaYU. We have, we do research in my Masters of Science is broken into four different specializations. One in yoga therapy, yoga philosophy, and one can do a master thesis in yoga research on different topics. And also, we are starting a new program called the 4+1 program for pre-medical students, so that they get exposed to, integrative medicine. Okay, wherein you take the Indian form of medicine, Ayurveda, and then yoga, modern medicine, and health tech. Okay, because you need the sensors to measure things. And then, so the focus generally, as one of my colleagues from Stanford says, the modern healthcare is really sick care. Okay, to take care of the sick people, and instead of that, bringing the focus back to health. And this is what, and then it's in a holistic health. Now everything covered. The holistic, of course, does not mean religious aspect, but the practices that in Agnihotra that you have demonstrated with adequate amount of data. And I'm sure the research needs to go on to understand multiple aspects and effects of Agnihotra going further. And these are some things, these are ideas that perhaps our students can take, okay, in our
Great.
research, and then take that and run with different questions where they still need to answer. Will be very happy to share the papers Dr. Berk has produced and referred to, and that's if you come back to our DSS recording of this episode, we also will include this extra material that Dr. Beck has kindly provided, so that we'll all learn about this wonderful technique. So thank you very much, sir. And I'd like to request our person who's managing this podcast, to share a video from one of our students who had undergone a transformation, and thanks to some of these these techniques. Okay, please go ahead, Akhil, and share it full screen. Volume.
On October 27th, 2020, I was put on ECMO life support and spent 9 days in a coma. I had developed severe cardiomyopathy, my lungs and kidneys failed, I had pneumonia in both of my lungs, and had to be airlifted to a specialty hospital. I spent 14 days on a ventilator and about a month in the ICU. When I woke up on November 5th, 2020 from my coma, I was still on the ventilator with my right leg in a wound vac after multiple fasciotomy surgeries. I couldn't feel my feet. They told me to expect to at least lose 3 of my toes on my right leg, if not the leg itself. They told my husband that if I survived 1 year, then I would have beaten the odds. After 2 months in the hospital, my muscles turned to jello. I could poke my thigh and feel the bone underneath my skin. Over the course of 2 years, I did 130 sessions of physical therapy. When I began PT in January of 2021, my goal was to be able to sit up in my wheelchair for at least 4 hours a day. I couldn't even move from my bed to the wheelchair independently, let alone use the bathroom on my own. When I began my MS in yoga at VaYU in the fall of 2022, I began earnestly practicing what I learned, both in mind and body. At that time, I couldn't stand up with my eyes closed without falling backwards. But Professor Balaram Pradhan helped meet me where I was. VaYU gave me the key to unlock the miraculous healing ability within myself. In August 2022, I was unable to attend my cousin's wedding due to my unstable heart health. I spent 90% of my day bedridden, with very little stamina, taking multiple medications. By February 2023, just 6 months later, my cardiologist took me off of every medication except for aspirin. By June 2023, inspired by the first yoga therapy course with Dr. Nagaratna, I went to Bangalore in India and spent 3 weeks receiving treatments using various healing modalities, including holistic yoga, naturopathy, acupuncture, and Ayurveda at the Arogya Dhamma Residential Yoga Therapy Center, where VaYU students can also train. I arrived in India hobbling around on a rollator that I donated just 2 months later before my flight home. The day after I arrived back in the US, my strength and stamina had so improved that despite the jet lag, I was easily able to drive myself to the grocery store without a cane and pick up milk for my family. By November 2023, I was able to perform a dance at my brother's wedding. This is the miracle of holistic yoga therapy that VaYU taught me. Modern medicine saved me from imminent death, but the holistic yoga therapy I learned at VaYU is what brought me back to life. Thank you for hearing my story.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is amazing that the story that the student shared. She came in as a seeker, okay, wanting to understand, and it turned out that the yoga therapy that we teach not only helped her, okay, but created a life for her. Not just having life, but a life for her. So that's the inspirational story that we thought we will share in this group, and I would like to see if there are any questions. If there are no questions, I have a few. I want to understand, like, now it's been multiple decades since you have been practicing Agnihotra, and how is the movement spreading in Europe? I would like to understand that, and also internationally, because you travel internationally, you have conducted so many, demonstration talks and so on. Would like to hear your experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big change. I started Agnihotra 47 years ago, and at that time, when I talked to people, people were very much skeptical. And when I mentioned we use cow dung, always in the audience, one or two persons started to laugh. For them, it was something you couldn't do that. So, things now have changed totally. People are much more open. People, of course, they also now know about Ayurveda. Many people like these methods. And now I would say more than 10,000 people in Europe practice Agnihotra. It's a totally different thing. Interesting to compare it with India. At the beginning, it was more difficult to teach Agnihotra in India than in Germany. Because in India, people always thought, yeah, I know that. My grandmother did it. but they did not really know, and they did not take it serious. They thought, yeah, it's some nice, the old people can spend their time with that, but they did not think it has an effect. It was very difficult at the beginning also to find some scientists to actually take it to test. I always say, like you also said, we don't just believe. You shouldn't believe, just believe, but you should take it for serious and then doing some experiments. Now the situation in India is different. Now also you mentioned this IKS, the Indian knowledge system. I would say Vedic knowledge system, because actually it's the Vedas from where this knowledge comes. And that Vedas were before India came, or before England or Germany came into existence. So now there's a big movement, and it's much easier. And also much research is going on. And also now in India, thousands and thousands, or I would say 10,000 of people are performing Agnihotra. And they're doing in the exact correct way. That was not the case when I started, say, 45 years ago in India. I was teaching Agnihotra. It was very difficult. And now in Europe, yeah, things are very much improving. And also in US, there are large groups in US who perform Agnihotra regularly. And I would like to you to get in touch with these people. I will send you some contacts later by email.
That will be very much appreciated, Dr. Berk. This moment as displaying it is for humankind, not only for personal health, but for the environment. And, those of us, I spent about 15 years researching on the environment. Way back in 1990, I wrote a book on global warming, okay, and
Oh,
looking at models of global warming. And I worked with United Nations, UNESCO, multiple international agencies from 1990 onwards all the way to 2005. My interest kind of diverged at that point. But, this is for humanity, what you're doing, and I applaud you taking this not only as a practitioner, but as an advocate. And thank you very much for enlightening us all this wonderful technique that, and as I told you personally, it has inspired me right now to go and start doing it literally the next day. Thank you again for your time.
great.
And on behalf of VaYU, our students, our alumni, and our audience, there are actually a couple of questions that I see that have popped up. How can I learn the process, Jyoti Tyagi ji? How can I learn the process to do Agnihotra?
Uh, okay. See, I can post a video.
You can put it in the chat, and then we will be happy to
I
hear it.
put yeah. I put it in the chat, a video on how to perform Agnihotra.
Meanwhile, I'll answer the second question. I think Akhil is also answering. Thank you for organizing, why for organizing a knowledgeable talk. Can we get the recorded session? The simple answer is yes. This will appear on our website, vyuusa.org, which I'm going to put it as Dr. Beck is putting in the link for the recording on how to do Agnihotra.
Yeah. So I put two links. One is some general overview of Agnihotra, including the Agnihotra in the different places of the world. And the second link is a tutorial how to perform Agnihotra. That is quite comprehensive and understandable. And of course,
Dr. Beck, we are not seeing it in the chat. If you
oh,
try, then maybe you need to put a return so that it will get posted.
I see it, and that's strange because I see it in.
Akila, are you seeing it?
No, I can't see.
I just put it
Okay.
again.
Yeah.
Do you?
Okay. Actually, Kusuma says that. See, Kusuma is my associate. And Kusuma, did you see different videos? Two of them? Not I
Yes,
posted.
Srinaji. I could see two of them. Two
Okay.
videos have been posted, two links.
Yes,
Now
yes.
there's another one.
Okay, great.
Or is it been
Wonderful.
repeated?
Yeah. There seems to be some more questions now. Yeah. Okay. Everybody sees it, but except me. So perhaps I'm not clicking the right one. But I really appreciate
Oh,
Dr.
it is
Berk.
not been posted for panelist. That's why. Okay. I can post it here.
Please post it. Yes, Jyoti ji, Ashlesha ji, Prasad, they're all seeing it. Dr. Berk, I apologize, I withdraw. So probably I'm not looking at the right one. Wonderful. Dr. Berk, thank you again for not only exposing us, but also being a teacher and teaching us this technique. Dhanyawad.
Okay.
And we will be in contact, and we would love to have you present it to other audiences of VaYU. Thank you.
Okay, great. So, Professor Srinath, I thank you a lot for inviting me. It was a pleasure, and I hope that this will be the beginning of some cooperation in this field. I would be very happy about that, and it's really great that you have this VaYU in US and spread this Vedic knowledge. It's really great, and I hope that we can cooperate in future also.
Okay. Yes, Dr. Beck, yes, we would love for you to be associated with VaYU, and we would love for our students to learn this technique and start practicing it for the betterment of themselves and the humanity.
Great,
Thank you,
yes.
sir. Namaste.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Namaste.